Right. Formally welcoming you all to day two of IDL 3.0 training. This is senior category. And housekeeping rules remain the same for the sessions that you're going to attend with me. Nobody unmutes themselves out of turn. You also don't unmute yourself when you want to ask a question in the middle of something. The outlet for you to ask questions is the chat box. I don't want anybody to respond to somebody's question in the chat box, not permissible. What is also not permissible is for you to do any additional parallel talks in the chat box. You would be like removed from the meeting immediately if you're talking to somebody about the debates or like discussing a topic in the chat box, not listening to me, right? So you ask as many questions as you like in the chat box. Do not blame me if I don't take your question because you asked it like thrice or four times or five times. Yesterday, I identified a couple of people who were just asking the same question 10 times. It's not permissible. So please don't do it. I'm just going to ignore the questions which are going to be like which will try to get excessive visibility at the cost of others. All right. With that, sharing my screen, assuming the rules are clear, right? Here. Give me 1 second. Right. So
Just
the
one
things that
second,
we
just 1 second. Folks, I don't want to see annotation. I would request you to leave the group because if I get you to leave it, you will not be participating in the tournament. Just drop it immediately, please. I don't want to see one more annotation on the screen. This is not a child's play over here. Afrin, just stop the training next time there's annotation happening. We are not going to deliberately lock annotation. We expect you to please behave, right? Please carry on.
Right. Please act your age, guys, and listen carefully. If you have questions, put them in the chat. We don't expect any other extraneous behavior. Right. Now, on to what we did yesterday, just quickly taking you through that because it's important that we do a slight revision before we go on to the main things or like contents for today. So the first thing I discussed yesterday was the theme. If you go back to the recording, you'll see a very, very detailed analysis of what the theme had. So it's ancient India, medieval India, modern India, and giving you a very small summary which you can like learn more about through the recording and the PDF. So you have to look at the milestones of each of these ages and not read like entire books of history. That's not what we expect. So yeah, please go to the recording and refer to it if you have theme clarifications to seek. The next important thing I did yesterday was the one versus one format and like a quick overview for that, right? I hadn't explained what the speeches are like or what the reply speech is supposed to have, but I had given you the order. So there's two sides, right? There's proposition and there's opposition, also called for and against. So for the motion, the person going for the motion, now look at this. The person going for the motion is also called prop, right? They give the first speech in the debate. They start the debate. So this is 3 minutes. The next speech is again the first speech, but from opposition side this time, all right? Also called the side which is going against the motion. Again, 3 minutes. Once the first two, like these are the first speeches, okay? This is like 3 minutes constructive speeches. These are the reply speeches. Now, for person going for the motion is the first to deliver the first speech and also the first to deliver the reply speech. So once the first op speech is over, the next thing is first reply speech from prop or for the motion. All right. And then there is the op reply speech towards the end. So proposition starts the debate, opposition ends the debate. This is true for one versus one format that we are following. All right. This is what I explained yesterday as well. You'll see find a detailed uh, understanding of this in the recordings that we shared yesterday. All right. Moving on then. Now, this is the most important thing which I haven't discussed so far. I'll be giving it adequate time. And then once I'm done with this slide, I'm going to open the chat box for a couple of questions. I'm going to answer them, and then we're going to see if there's anything else we need to do to make things clearer. To begin with, then, constructive speeches. Don't confuse yourself with the word. Constructive is also the main speech. So the main speech, the argument, uh, the main speech where your primary arguments will be the speech that you prepare beforehand. The speech which has all of your arguments is the speech that's called the constructive speech. All right. So this is Kirti. Can we remove Kirti from the chat, please? I don't understand how you all don't know how not to scribble on the screen. Wait. Right.
Just stop sharing and share again. Folks, I'm telling you once more. Yes. Please stop
Okay.
doing.
Here. Now the first speech, right? The first speech in this format shall cover your setup and the major arguments. Two things, all right? Two things you need to keep in mind. So the first thing is setup, which I'm going to explain what it means because I know setup can mean 1,000 different things. And then the arguments. I think everybody knows what an argument is, right? And just in general, but an argument follows a proper structure when we talk about argument from a debater's perspective. And this structure is as follows. The first thing is your claim, okay? So you make a claim. Now, I could make a claim which would be something on the lines of how people should not go a step outside when it's raining. That's a claim. Now, when it's raining, maybe some people like rains too much to stay indoors. So they'd like to go outside. But my opinion is that people should not go outside when it's raining. And that's a claim. Now, what is it about a claim that you should know? Like a claim is convincing or not convincing? Can somebody like just put it in the chat? If it's convincing, say yes. If it's not convincing, say no. Is this claim convincing? Like, would you buy this argument when I'm telling you to not step outside when it's raining? No, no, yes. Okay, it's a mixed bag of answers. So, no, no, no. Okay, mostly people saying no, a couple of you saying yes. For those of you who are saying no, I think you're saying no because you do not have any reasoning that I am giving you for this claim to stand. This means that I'm saying that, hey, don't go outside when it's raining, but I'm not giving you a reason for why you should not go outside, which means that you're not convinced by my claim. You think it's my opinion, and this opinion holds no water. That's what a claim is. A claim is never independently, a claim is never independently persuasive. Like it alone cannot persuade the judge. So what is the next thing that you do? Can somebody put it in the chat? Just one word. What is the next thing that's required soon after claim? Proof. Okay, that's one word. Use a better word. Give reason, evidence, reasoning. Analysis. Good. Yeah, got it. Got it. Cool. So the next big thing you're doing is you're giving the judges an analysis to your claim. Now, what would that analysis look like is a good question to ask. I'm giving you a demonstration. I start my speech. I say, panel, the first claim we are going to make today is that one should not go outside when it's raining. This is my claim. This is a heading also. So think about the claim as a heading as well, right? When you're writing an article, you need a heading. When you're leaving your house to get to a destination, you want to know where you're going beforehand. It's the same kind of situation with the judges. When you're taking the judges in a certain direction, you need to tell them where you're taking them. And the claim helps them understand the argument that you're going to make. So you give it a heading. We think the first claim is that people should not go out when it's raining. Why do we think so? The analysis is as follows. We think, first of all, going outside can lead to serious injuries. But secondly, going outside by leading to serious injuries is also going to get you to take more days off from your workplace or your school, depending on which age category you are. And once all of that happens, when you're not able to go to school and you've also contracted a serious injury, this means that your family is also really saddened and dejected and always at your disposal because they're trying to help you, but they're also like sad and burdened by whatever happened to you, right? So there is also familial disturbance because of the injury that you contract. And the next reason for why you should not go out is because when there is injury, when you can't go to your job, when your family is unhappy, you by default will also not feel confident in yourself. You will have self-doubt. You will be constantly anxious about missing out on so much just because of like going out during the rain. So you'll be regretful in how you think about the situation now. And the last thing is that all of this put together is also a lot of financial burden, which means that you're not going to your workplace, but you're also footing your medical bills because you have had an injury. So because of all of these reasons, not going outside when it's raining seems like a valid claim to make. Has this argument become persuasive to some of you now? Yes or no? All right. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, not yet. Some people are saying not yet, which is fine. All right, I'll give it to you. Maybe it's not so convincing. Let's try to make it more convincing then. Now, I have given you an analysis and it's not convincing enough. Probably because you think I can easily rebut what she's saying. Well, not going to workplace is not going to all. No, I mean, an injury doesn't always mean you can't go to your workplace. You can go to a workplace with a fractured hand as well, if it's the left hand, or that going outside does not always mean that it's going to be slippery and you'll fall. Maybe you're going to be more careful, so you'll go outside, but you won't fall, and you're not also going to get wet because you'll carry an umbrella. In which case, I mean, sure, these are valid rebuttals, but I am going to prove that, right, I'm going to prove that most of this is not going to happen, or like even if you're carrying an umbrella, the likelihood of you falling, slipping, etc. is high because of excessive traffic and all of the, like, a lot of things coming together to make your life worse. So you can, like, not go outside because it's too much work to do when you're going outside during rains. So in that sense, I can just keep adding to the analysis over and over and over again, as many layers as I want. I gave you 5 layers. You can make them 6 or 7 as well, right? Depending on, right, you want to see the screen? I'm just, yeah. So depending on the time that you have, you can keep widening your analysis, all right? Right now, I gave you 5 reasons, maybe you can give 8. It depends on the speed at which you're speaking, but it also depends on how much you can think on a topic. Some people just stop at 2 layers of analysis. Okay, you will get an injury and you won't be able to go to work. That's it. But sometimes you are able to find more reasons, right? That's when you become like a stellar debater, when you can find more and more reasons to back your arguments. So that's how you do the main argumentation. Now, where were we? So the first thing is that you give a claim. The second thing is that you give an analysis, like I just said. The third thing is that you give an example. An example can also be hypothetical. So, like when I say that, look, okay, imagine a man who does not have to go to any, like, who does not have to go to any important place. They're just trying to go outside even when it's raining because they're missing out on a movie. Now, I mean, missing out on a movie is definitely a wastage of money, but we think it's going to lead to more wastage if you're stepping out and you're contracting an injury. Because in contracting an injury, it's going to be extra expenditure, but you're also going to waste a lot of your days to come because you won't be able to attend your workplace, etc. It's better to ditch the movie then, as opposed to going out and like running the risk of getting an injury. Okay. So that's how you give an example. The example doesn't always have to be factual, statistical. It can also be the kind of examples which are hypothetical but realistic. All right. Now that's how you give an example. After exam convincing now, okay, thank you for that validation. The next thing that you do, if you want to make your argument even more persuasive, is there someone who thinks that this argument can still be made more persuasive? Okay, Akanksha thinks so. All right, good. I mean, good that you think it can be made more persuasive. That's always the case, all right? But also remember, you have 3 minutes and no argument is indestructible. So there's always going to be a way of like cutting through an argument, which is fine. But if you give 5 layers, then rebutting those 5 layers is also going to take time, right? Which means at least you are able to say that, okay, now this is going to, I mean, the opposition has a lot of work to do. If they want to deconstruct my argument, it's going to be done in like 5 layers. So that's a lot of work itself. So the more layers you add, the more persuasive it becomes. So if you think that Nitiksha, like ma'am's argument is still not good enough, maybe you can add more analysis to it depending on the time you have, right? I can't deliver a proper speech here is the problem. The next thing that you can do to make your argument more persuasive though are the impacts. What are impacts? Impact is when you're able to prove why your argument is the most important argument, right? So if you're saying something, if you're making an analysis, you also need to prove why this analysis is the most important analysis. Like my analysis is very important and in the debate, and it is relevant because I'm not just giving you one random reason for why you should not go out. I'm creating a proper like a mirage of reasons, or like a collection or nexus of reasons because of which you should not go out, right? So you're making yourself more convincing. You're saying, judge, it would have been okay if there was only one risk that you had, but here you have multiple risks. And how many risks are you going to save yourself from when you're carrying an umbrella, you're carrying other things that you naturally need when you're stepping outside? We think it's too much work. That's why we think the impact on our side of the house is better. So towards the end, you also prove why you think your argument is so good, all right? You don't assume that people think it's good, you prove why it's good or why the judges should buy it. And that's when it becomes like completely convincing and persuasive. All right. How many of you understand? Just give me a thumbs up emoji. Um, Okay, 59 of you, 64. It'll be nice if this number can touch 100. Okay, you started dropping your hands. Fine. Okay, that's fine. I'm assuming all of you understand, and if you don't, you can ask questions later and you can also watch the recording. So this is about the first speech. That's how arguments are made. But I said the first speech is about two things, setup and argumentation. So arguments I've already explained. Now, you didn't clearly understand. I think it'll be clearer when you hear the recording, but also just ask questions. All right. The next thing we're looking at is the setup and how is setup done. Now, setup happens before the debate, all right? I mean, before the argumentation. So arguments come later, setup happens before, and it shouldn't take more than 1 minute or 40-50 seconds. All right. So quick setup in 3 minutes long speech. Now, can somebody quickly, I mean, in the chat again, what do you understand by like setup? Intro, okay, good. That's not the claim, the process, okay, roadmap as to what we're going to do. No, setup is not arguments. Argument is different. Framework, okay. Introduction, theme, all right. Overall idea, all right. All right, all right, all right. Okay, I see a lot of keywords here. Cool. The keywords I'm going to pick on, I mean, I'm going to give you a simpler example. I'm going to give you an analogy to understand setup so that you don't ever forget it. Forget ideal, just like never forget it, because this is very important for any debate. Uh, Imagine there is a book. Okay, a book that you guys haven't read. Let's say Middlemarch. I'm sure you haven't read it. Just there's this book Middlemarch that I'm sure you haven't read because it's 800 pages, but I have. If I had to give you a summary of that book, and if I started it like this, Dorothea fought with Celia, and Celia refused to talk to Dorothea thereafter. Is this a good starting to the summary? Do you all understand who Dorothea and Celia are, or do you think it can be clearer? Is it clear or no? Yes or no? No, no, no. Okay, great. I love the response uh, and the speed of it. Cool. I have to make it clearer. See, any novel when it starts with not the storyline, okay? It starts with like the framing. It starts with the setup of something. I need to give you context because novels or stories don't happen in vacuum. Anything concerning human beings doesn't happen in vacuum. So assume this. You've been given a topic, okay? Let's assume the topic is this house will ban foreign products in India. Now, if we said that this house will ban foreign products in India, I need to explain what kind of country is India, right? So this is called status quo. Where is the debate happening? It's happening in India. What is India? India is a country which was formerly colonized by the British, which means that the British wealth is built on India's exploitation from the past. Now, this is a definition of India which is going to help you in proving why the ban is important. All right. The next important thing you do in setup, besides explaining where this debate is happening, is who are the important people in this debate, right? Like when I'm debating on this topic, who am I debating on it for? We always debate for the welfare of society, for the well-being of society. So who are the people that trying to make the lives better off? So I can say that, okay, the people who I'm trying to help through this debate by banning foreign products are the Indians. We think Indians don't have enough cultural pride in them yet, which is why, and small businesses are unable to boom in the market because there's always foreign competition. We want to curtail that. That's why we are going into this protectionism for our people, wherein we don't allow foreign products. So I'm explaining who the people in the debate are and why they are important to the debate. That's another part of the setup, right? The third part is what are the terms in the motion and what do they mean? You can't debate on something without knowing what these terms mean, all right? This means that uh, when I'm talking about foreign products, well, what does that mean? Foreign products could mean a lot of things, right? It could mean probably products only related to like food products, or it could mean natural resources as well, or it could mean finished products like e-vehicles or clothes like and brands like Tommy Hilfiger and Zara. So what do foreign products mean according to you as a debater? You have to define that because understand that various words in the motion can be defined in various ways. So you need to clarify what you understand by those words so that the other side does not like misrepresent that particular word or misrepresent that idea which the word shares, right? So the three things that you do in setup, all right. Where is this debate happening? Who are the people in this debate? And what do the terms in the motion mean? All right. I'll give you 1 minute to take it all in, and you can put your question in the chat for the next 30 seconds. I'll pause the chat for 30 seconds and then I'll respond to those. All right, let's see. Okay, questions coming in. I'll allow the questions to come in. Just wait. Okay, please pause at Vidhi's question, right? I'll give you another round of asking. Let me first answer these. Will we get some time before? Okay. All right, stop typing now. Stop typing for a while. Are the two speeches just main and reply speech? Please answer. Yes, they are only main and reply. I have only explained the main speech so far. It includes two things, setup and argumentation. I have explained how arguments are made, and I have explained how setup is done. Okay. As per my experience, ma'am, the last time I participated, information was given priority rather than the way of presentation, which is okay. But the problem is that people just read the part. All right. If people are reading off ChatGPT, you have to understand people. In this case, we need to make peace with the judge's discretion, right? If we are going to any tournament, we have to have faith in the organizing committee and the judge's discretion. So if they're using ChatGPT, if the arguments are not well analyzed, they're not going to win. That's all right. So even if you think they've taken it from the internet, it's their loss. So yeah, that's that. Can we use our own way of example to explain the? Yes, yes, you can use your own examples. That's all right. Will there be three motions? Yeah, three motions for three different rounds. Will we get some time before we make a reply speech? You'll probably get like a minute, not more than a minute though. So, okay, one way, I mean, I haven't explained reply speeches yet, so don't ask me questions about reply speeches. I'll explain reply speeches in detail. Are we allowed to share our own interpretations? Yes, sure. Yeah, that's what debates are about. What if the prop plays a new argument? That's all right. You rebut it. They can't do a new argument in the reply speech. Again, I'll explain the reply speech. All right. Should our setup only consist of defining the key terms or also setting up the context? No, no, setup is everything. Setup is where is the debate happening? Who are the people in this debate? And what do the terms in the motion mean? Three things, three questions. Kabir. Can you repeat what three things come under setup? Okay, doing it again. Who are the people in this debate? Where is this debate happening? And what do the terms in the motion mean according to me as a debater? I hope that helps just now. Will all the three motions have different topics? Yes, please. We have to provide model as well. Not really. No, you don't have to zen up. So do we have to refer to ourselves in the third person? No, you can just say, I am going to do this. So first person is fine. But when you're referring to others, just try to say prop speaker one, prop speaker two, op speaker one, op speaker two, respectfully parliamentary language. Something on which foreign has invested. Okay, yeah, this was a response to something I was saying. Will the speeches be continuous or will we get like a minute? You could ask for a minute or like 40 seconds. That's excusable. But don't expect like 2-3 minutes. Like judges aren't going to wait for a very long time. Importing of various raw materials from other. Okay, this is an answer. Population of country, common people, better enough, emotions. All right, backdrop is important. That's about right. All right, that's pretty much it. Ma'am, what if our opponent is using unusual language? In this case, we should be quiet or not. If your opponent is using objectionable language, then the judge is going to call it out. All right, that counts as equity. That's a problem. Rest assured, the judges will do it. You don't have to intervene. If your opponents are using like unusual as in new words which you don't understand, you can, I mean, if you don't understand the words, it doesn't happen very often. You can just Google the word and like probably have a dictionary beside you. But that doesn't happen often when people are using unusual words which you don't understand. Can we reveal our identity? Okay, that's a good question. Identity as in don't tell which school you come from, which grade you are in. We already know, right? We've already divided you into the categories. Judges know. Just say your name, your speaker role. So this is how you define yourself before you start your speech. Hello, I'm Nitiksha. I'll be the first speaker from side prop. And you begin. That's it. Right? So, Pauses do not lead to any deduction of marks. So it's okay to take pauses, say, that's general, it's not public speaking debate, it's debating. So pauses don't matter. You will get the sides on the spot. That's another catch. You get the motions beforehand, like 2, 3 days before the tournament, but you're not going to get the sides. The sides will be given on spot, which means that you have to prepare from both the sides. If we forget some parts in between and take pauses, will there be? No, there won't be any marks reduction, Pragatya. Araman, I understand your concern that if they're using ChatGPT, they'll use unusual words. But then in that case, you can just ask for clarity. I mean, if it's really bothering you, then you can ask the judge what a particular word means also in very exceptional situations. No, POIs are not allowed. POIs, for those of you who don't know, are questions that you ask to the opponents. You can't ask any questions to your opponents. There can be no cross questioning or cross conversations happening. You can only speak at 2 times in a round. That's your first speech, 3 minutes, and second speech, 3 minutes. In and out of that time, you can't speak. Will the division of prop and op be done by you? Okay, it's going to be done by us. I think this is a teacher asking this question. So, Miss Neeti, this is going to be done by the organizing committee, and we'll decide for and against, and we'll tell you that on the spot. When will we get sides? On the spot? That's a repeat question. Pause does not lead to reduction of marks. It will be pre-decided. We'll tell you on the spot, Jab Noor Pal, about which side you're on. Okay, now I think there's questions about reply speeches, which I'm not responding to because I'm yet to explain reply speeches. You can take a pause, guys, relax. So don't be too like fretful about it, okay? The kind of fears that you have about public speaking are the fears that everybody your age will have or every new debater has. So don't think of yourself in a unique position. Just be you, do you, and don't be scared. Make good arguments. If you have to stop somewhere in between, you can't speak too fast. Those are unimportant things. Nobody's going to downmark you for that. All right. Uh, will we go against students? Yeah, you will go against students of higher classes because it's category based. So 9 to 12, anybody can go against anyone. Can we say some Hindi? Yeah, Hindi quotes are fine. But don't use too many of them. Just try to be logical and use proper argumentation and not just quotes. Will we get time to prepare a speech after the topic is given? Yeah, definitely. You're going to get a lot of time to prepare your speech. What if the judge is biased? Okay, good question. If you think the judge is biased, you can't call it out, guys. So this is not the kind of tournament where you can say, okay, we don't think the judged fairly. We want the round to be happen again, etc. This means you don't have enough faith in the process, which is not a good thing. The judge will not be biased because how the judges are shortlisted is when they have been to a lot of tournaments, they've judged a lot, and this is very easy for them to judge. Okay, so they can't be making a mistake. So you have to have faith in the process, and you cannot question the judgment of the judge. And that happens in all the tournaments. Whenever you go, everybody says that the judge's decision is binding. So there's no doubt about it. That. When again, or are we going to know which side are we? Okay, don't ask me the same question over and over again, not taking it again. The sides will be given on the spot, end of debate. Can we use flashcards while the rounds are on? Yeah, you can use flashcards, you can use your palm cards to write bullet points. You can't have a proper doc where you have the proper speech written and you're reading from it. Qualifiers are online, yes. You will not get to know if the who won the round on the spot. That will be happen later. 3 rounds will not be on the same day, don't worry. Yeah, content definitely holds more value, Chabi, than the way you're speaking. I mean, way also matters, but that's something I'm going to explain in the judge criteria, which I'm going to cover now. Okay, done with the questions. I see repeat questions now. Moving on to the reply speech, okay, and how that's supposed to be dealt with. Now, in the first speech, both the sides have given their main arguments. You've presented your primary thoughts with which you had prepared before the debate started. Reply speech is, of course, not something that you can write beforehand. But if you are uncomfortable writing an entire speech while the debate is on, one technique that you can use to write, like, guess some of your reply speech content is to think about what you would say if you were on the other side and then rebut that. So if I'm proposition reply, if I have to do proposition reply, I will think as opposition. I will think what are the arguments that might run and how will I rebut it. If you see them running it, then your reply speech will be easier to draft because you've already thought about what you're going to put in the reply speech because you thought as opposition as well. All right. So that's pretty easy. Now, before you deliver your reply speech, I'm not going to repeat this. I saw too many questions on this. So listen to me carefully, all ears. Your reply speech will have to be delivered 1 minute after your this thing. Like your reply speech will have to be delivered soon after your main speech, like the other person's main speech, right? So you're not going to get a lot of time between speeches, which means that you're probably going to get maximum 1 minute before you start your reply speech. So be prepared beforehand accordingly, right? Uh, to prepare your reply speech a little in advance, you have to think about rebuttals from the other side. All right. A reply speech is equally important to the first speech. Just give me 1 second, guys. Yeah, a reply speech is equally important to the first speech. This means that a lot of debaters, what they tend to do when they're just starting out, is that they think that, hey, the first speech is more important because most of my arguments will be there, and that's what is going to win me the debate. But hey, rebuttals are equally important because what if your arguments were good, but then you did not like attack the other side's case enough? If you don't demolish their case, you still give them a chance of winning, right? Because then it's about whose argument is better. But when you rebut them in the second speech, then you are like better assured that you can win now because in the first speech you did your own argumentation, which is called case building, and then in the second speech you did rebuttals, which is called like what is it called? It's called engagement. But when you consider what the other side is saying and you deal with that as well, and you're not living in your own bubble where you just make your arguments, you reiterate them in your reply speech, and that's that. Please don't make the mistake of repeating your first speech in the second speech. The second speech has a unique role, and that unique role is for you to rebut your other side. All right. So that's that. That's pretty much it about the reply speech. Can we introduce? Okay, new arguments cannot be introduced in reply speeches. And we have a logical answer for that. If you are doing your reply speech and your opposition reply, it's unfair for you to add new arguments because there are no more speeches for the other side to rebut that argument, right? So making new arguments in reply speeches is not permissible. Not permissible. I'm repeating myself. Can we note down things we want to ask during the other person's speech? No, you can't ask anything. That's the problem. There's no questions you can ask in this format. It doesn't become repetitive, Antarjita. So your reply speeches will not become repetitive because you have to rebut the other side, all right? So I made an argument. We should not go out when it's raining. And I analyze it in the first 3 minutes, right? Then I see my opposition making some of their own arguments. So in the reply speech, I have new work to do, right? The new work is to rebut the other side. So how is it repetitive? Can we, if a certain topic may have a clear right or wrong, okay, a certain topic never has an obviously right or wrong side. I understand your question. You're saying what if one side is not debatable at all? That never happens. Okay, that never happens. We're not going to give you types of motions which say, okay, this house thinks that this house believes that sky is blue, because then it's a non-debatable topic. Everybody knows sky is blue, so there's no debate about that. So don't worry about it. The motions will be very balanced. You can debate on them. They are debatable from both sides. There's questions coming in. I'll let them. Although so the debate will be like two independent speeches because there's no questioning. They are not independent speeches just because you're not questioning. You're still listening to the other side and you're responding to it in your reply. I think my opposition first speaker said this. I don't agree with it because of so and so reasons. It's not independent speech, it's still engagement, but it's engagement through speeches and not questions. Ma'am, what if we couldn't find points to rebut against the opponent? You will always find points if you think hard enough, right? So think about it like even if you can't find a way of saying what they're saying is wrong, You can still say that, okay, although that is happening on my side, although this harm exists on my side, my benefit is still better. So you can't say that this harm makes my side bad, because I'm saying that harm exists on both the sides. But I am trying to make the world better by bringing about a better benefit against that harm. So those kinds of rebuttals. Prop reply speech will rebut all of opposition case. All right. So you will rebut opposition main speech. Can we give the reply speech in the way as the opponent mentioned? Yeah. You can use whatever structure you want. That's not up for debate. Can we quote our opponent's line? Yes, sure. Why not? It won't be turn quote. Marking criteria coming up. Yeah. If you're not allowed to bring any new arguments, this means that you're defending your existing arguments. You can definitely defend your existing arguments in the reply speech. That's not objectionable. What starting we should do while guys, stop asking questions now. If you're going to keep flooding the chat, how am I going to read and follow? Stop asking questions now. Okay. Ma'am, some topics have more pros compared to the cons, right? No. We will make balanced motions. The topic will be debatable equally from both the sides. A new argument? No. New arguments are not allowed in reply speech. Please don't ask questions in twisted ways now. I didn't understand by adding argument. Adding argument as in the first speech is supposed to have all of your arguments. The second speech is supposed to be reply, rebuttal, not new arguments coming in the reply speech, Kashvi. The proper reply speech is based on the op main speech. Yes, that's right, Athar. Some topics have more pros, no. Can we write down what we want to rebut? Yeah, sure, Ishan. If we exceed the 3 minute time limit by around a minute, yeah. If you're exceeding it by a minute, that's a lot. You're only given 20 seconds extra. If you don't wrap up in that time, first of all, the judges literally drop their pens. They're not listening to you anymore after 3:20. And they're not going to take anything down that you say after 3:20. But they're also going to stop you if you're going to keep speaking despite warnings. Ma'am, in one round, both the teams have to speak twice. There are no teams. This is individual rounds. Shreyanshi, focus. Can we write rebuttal points down that time when opponent is giving first speech? Yeah, definitely. Use your time like how you want to, Anvesha. No issues. Can we use new statistics to weaken the opponent's argument in the reply speech? Sure, you're free to do that, Agastya. Uh, what starting what starting we should do while replying like an intro? Reply speeches don't have an intro. You can just say, I will start by rebutting so and so argument of my opponent, like that. Ma'am, can we ask direct questions in constructive speech? You can try to. You can say, okay, in the next speech, we expect opponent to answer the question, this question. What is the accountability of so and so thing? You can expect them to answer, but if they don't answer, then nobody can do anything about it. But the judge will be listening. So yes, you can ask questions, but not the questions that will solicit direct replies. They can respond to those questions in their speech, not directly. If we are in a condition where the topic are biased, topics will not be biased, guys. I see major trust issues here. Don't question the judges. Don't question topics. This is not the first time ideal is happening. We've done it successfully 3 times before. It's never happened. It's never been the case where topics are not debatable from a particular side. I will set equal motions, balanced motions, and if you think it's unfair, I can run arguments literally from whichever side on a motion. So when motions are set, they are set keeping in mind the arguments from both the sides, all right? So don't worry about these things. If we are not allowed to bring any new argument, then should we mention the possible questions? Yeah, sure, Chavi. Ma'am, can you please break down the marking criteria coming up? If we are in a condition where, okay, this is done. Okay, repeat questions. I hate it when people put the same question in the chat 10 times. I don't really see why you want so much attention suddenly. I'm reading all the questions. I have a doubt. How will we not make a new argument? Can you please give it? Not making a new argument, as in, I am going to make 3 arguments in my first speech: accountability of government, cultural preservation, and something else. If these are the 3 arguments, don't say that in my reply speech I want to make a 4th argument. That's what I mean by saying that you can't bring new arguments in the reply speech. You can extend your existing arguments, but you can't make new arguments. Okay, how many points will be deducted for exceeding few seconds? Points will not be deducted, but the judge will not be listening to you. So no point in doing that. All right, I'm done with the questions. Moving on. Okay. This I've already explained. Now the judging criteria quickly, people. Matter, manner, method. Matter is the major content, like what have you brought to the table? What are you saying? That's the major thing that matter is about. Like, what is your research like? Are you making any sense? Are you relevant to the topic? Or are you speaking about things that are outside of this motion, not relevant to the motion? So if it's a debate about artificial intelligence and you're talking about the Vedas, then that's definitely a problem. You're going to be downmarked on matter in that case. If your matter is not good enough, this means that you have an opinion, but you don't have enough analysis for it. Then you're going to be downmarked on matter. All right. So that's what matter is. What are you saying? Is it effective? Is it persuasive? Is your argument believable? Is it working on a likelihood analysis? Manner is the second important thing. Again, 10 marks. All right, same weightage. Now, manner is presentation. Are you on camera? First consideration. Are you developing eye contact, or are you just looking like into your sheets because you're reading it off a paper? Are your expressions, I mean, expressions and everything is fine, but things like engagement, right? In your manner, are you being respectful towards your opponent, or are you trying to belittle them? Are you trying to make them feel small? Now, remember, there is a logical fallacy. It's called ad hominem. Does anyone know what it means? Put it in the chat. Does anyone have any idea of what ad hominem means? It's a fallacy. Nobody? So you're going to learn something new today. Ad hominem is when you're trying to attack the person and not their argument. All right. If I say, hey, you're wearing such clothes, I don't think you can make an argument good enough. That's a fallacy. You're attacking the person, which is wrong, which is grounds for disqualification. You're not attacking the argument. If you think you're so smart, why don't you try attacking the argument, right? So yeah, feeling of superiority. So basically, just ensure that you're respectfully uh, debating. That's part of manner, all right? Not calling your opponents things, thinking of them as equals, respectfully debating regardless of how you think this debate is going. Respecting the judge's discretion, all of those things are important parts of manner. Maintaining the decorum of the room by maintaining parliamentary language, all parts of manner, right? The method then is again 10 marks. Now, you might have a really good argument, but if you don't structure it well, then it's a problem and you'll be downmarked on method. But what does structure mean, ma'am, right? I might have a very good argument, but the problem is that I only gave you a claim for that. I didn't give you an analysis. So I did claim, example, and end of story. That's when you're going to be downmarked. Your claim was really good, but you didn't analyze it. You directly jumped to example. Sometimes people start with examples and then they think that example alone is enough to make a point clear. Again, you'll be downmarked on method. Make a claim, do the analysis, then give an example. It makes maximum sense then. That's optimal usage of time. All right. Don't do it in any other way, which might be problematic for people to understand, the judges to understand. Judges are also human beings, guys. If you give them like a very confused mixture of arguments, they will not be able to understand what you tried saying in the first place. And if they're not able to understand, they won't be able to mark you fairly. So it's not enough for you to have a lot of ideas in your mind. It's equally important for you to be able to convey them in such a way that the judge has very clear notes on their notepad or Google Docs, wherever they're making notes. So to make yourself understood in and of itself is a very important thing, which is a part of method, and you'll be marked out of 10. So total, you'll be marked out of 30, all right? 10 plus 10 plus 10. Yes. How do we maintain eye contact in a video call? Oh, I don't take it. See, don't take everything too literally. By eye contact, we mean that you're looking at your camera. You're not looking somewhere like down below. So that, I mean, we know that you're not reading off a page. Will the use of language simple? No, no, no. Use simple language. Simple language is the best language. When everybody can understand you, that's when we know that you understand what you're saying. Reply speech, can we use a little bit of personal attacks like I can see the lack of, yeah. you can definitely say that there is some lack of analysis. See, even when you're trying to find problems with the other side, there's a way of doing it respectfully. So, like saying, panel, we think the side opposition lacks analysis in their second argument. That's fine. But saying that, hey, we think our opponents are too silly or too foolish, those are bad things to do when you're being offensive. If you're off, like I agree with you a little bit, but then yeah, Mimamsa, that's a good question. Sometimes you can agree with some part of your opponent, but you don't agree with some other part. You can say that. Like, can we give example first, then explanation? No. Parul, that won't be fair. I don't think it'll make much sense. Uh, will the use of okay, can we take inspiration from everyday debates? I mean, you can if they are meaningful and if they're useful, sure. Uh, how do we mean? Okay, this is done. Cool, we're done. Can op reply speech also to in prop reply speech? Yeah, op reply can respond to prop reply speech as well. That's fine. That's all right. How can we take examples? Explain things, give arguments, information, all that. Okay, in 3 minutes, that's a good question. How do you cram everything in these 3 minutes? Simple answer is this. Try to keep your setup short. Have very clear cut understanding of how much time you're going to give to each argument. So if it's a 3 minute long speech, just take two arguments. Don't make three arguments because three arguments are impossible to push in 3 minutes. So two arguments in 3 minutes. So you can use the first minute for setup, like I explained, and the next 2 minutes for arguments, 1 minute per argument. All right. That's how you can do it, Tanishi. Ma'am, in one round, both the people have to speak twice. Yes. Can't the op reply speech pose questions to the prop? No. That then doesn't have op reply. Op reply does not have any advantage, guys, because all of you get two speeches at least. And if you're getting adding something new in your reply speech, is not going to be considered anyway. So you have to rebut the first speech of your opponent anyway in your reply, because the second speech is only a rebuttal to your own debate or what you were saying. It's not unfair. Sorry, I'm asking this question at this point of time. Although in a reply speech, we are allowed to do clashes, rebuttals, and rebuilding. Just wanted to check what should we prioritize. Okay, Kabir, prioritization depends on what is needed in the debate. I can't tell you this, right? Because when you're debating, sometimes you think that, okay, this is a very muddy debate. This is a very confusing debate. The judges might not have been able to find out the right clashes. In that debate, you do clashes first, more than anything. But sometimes clashes are very obvious. There was only one or two clashes in the debate, in which case you can focus more on rebuttals. But when you think that rebuttals also are not needed because your other side literally did not make any good points at all, then you can do rebuilding. All right. So it depends on what the need of the motion is and what the need of the debate is, or and how the debate has panned out. Okay. Making a new argument on the judge will point out. Judge will not point out, but they will mark accordingly. Okay. So judge will not say anything, but they will mark, keeping in mind everything. Okay. Ma'am, body expression is beneficial here. What is that question? Yeah, expressions are fine. How can we make analysis before giving examples? Can you give? So I gave you an example, right, Madhav, when I said one should not go out when it's raining. And then I gave you example analysis. You should go out because you can get an injury. And then I explained how injury happens on slippery in slippery places, etc. You see like earthworms, etc. You get creeped out. And then you're likely to stumble and fall because you're constantly finding these small creepy creatures on the ground when it's raining. The second thing is when you can't go to the job because you've got an injury now, your family is all disappointed and dejected because they're constantly worrying about you. That's analysis. Example would be panel. Imagine a man who is trying to go to their job even when it's raining, but then understand the opportunity cost. If you're going to your job, even if it's raining, so that you don't miss out on a day's wage, the problem is that you're inviting more trouble for that one day of work. So we think it's better to stay indoors. That's an example. Uh, it's okay if you have trouble interpreting an argument. What can anyone do in that, right? Try to understand it. If you can't feel, I mean, an argument is never so tough that you are unable to understand it, so it's fine. Don't be too scared. uh Jabnoor Pal, don't scribble on the screen, please. That's not permissible, right? In case of main speech of first person, if person asks my question, then who have to reply? No, you can choose to reply or you can ignore. It's all up to you. Uh, okay, I am done with what I wanted to explain today. So if you all have like, if you don't have any questions, you can leave from the call. I understand it's late and everything. Thank you for joining in. Tomorrow we'll do a little bit of practice and then you'd be ready for the rounds. You can drop from the call if you don't have any questions. Right. Personal pronouns is fine, yes. Uh, no, I'm not going to repeat anything, Harsh, because it's time almost. So you will watch the recording for the setup. Ma'am, in the setup speech, we have to give information. For instance, the question is about AI. Is it efficient? So we have to give the AI history. No, you don't have to give any history. What does the world look like with AI right now? Who are the people in this debate? What are the terms in the motion? I've already explained setup, so please watch the recording. Any possibility that the motion will be example centric? No, no possibility. I mean, it could be as well, but then I don't understand what you mean by example centric. Uh, what if we say something controversial? You shouldn't say something very controversial. And I mean, debates are generally controversial. So again, I don't understand. The essence of your question is lost on me. If I get stuck on stress after listening, no, there will not be strict marking, Parul. Just chill, okay? It's okay. Don't be too scared, is what I'm saying. There are people who literally stop after 1 minute of speaking. I mean, if you think you're too bad, just know that somebody is more scared than you are. Okay, there's nothing like very scary about debate. So just do be you, and then wait for the results. Okay, what's the worst that can happen? You probably won't deliver a great speech, not the end of the world.
Thank you so much, Letitia. That's a very sweet way of saying it. Yeah, I
Right.
mean, this is all for you to grow as an individual. Every experience ensures that. So enjoy it more than anything else.
Right, ma'am, what if we are unable to understand speech of one person? First of all, that happens very rarely. They're not going to speak in French. It'll be simple English. They're all your age. So nobody is like Shakespeare here. It's going to be very easy. It's not going to be a problem. If there's a word you don't understand, Google it. It's linguistics is not going to be a problem. In
Yeah.
case of main speech or first person, if person asks any question, then we have to reply in second person speech. You can choose to respond or you don't have to respond. It's not compulsory. So you do what you think is right. Okay, now we are repeating the questions because I've answered all apparently. Please tell me, like introduction, how to start, only name and start. Yeah, give your name. Hi, this is Nitiksha. I'm doing the first constructive speech from side prop, and then you start. That's it. Please tell me like introduction. Okay, done. Okay. All right. Ma'am, I feel maybe I missed it or no, but the motion of the debate will told. Yeah, they'll be told later. You haven't missed that. Tomorrow's mock speech, do we need to prepare? No, don't prepare. Just read up on the theme. Do regular research that you've been doing for Ideal. I don't want you to do anything extra for tomorrow. Yeah, you'll get some practice tomorrow. You'll see a couple of people deliver speeches, and we'll also discuss ideas. Just bounce them back and forth. What do we need to prepare? You don't have to prepare anything. Tomorrow we will get time to make a sample speech. Not everybody. I'll ask for volunteers. I'll tell you what's to be done tomorrow itself. Just have a good night's sleep and come tomorrow. Everything will be done in that 1 hour. You don't have to exert yourself at all. Will ma'am, the argument will be the same grade student? No, not same grade, same category. So 9 to 12, you can meet anybody. All right. I mean, if one of the points can be related to the ruling party of the government, yes, sensitive topic is fine. I mean, we're all like grown ups and we're in the process of growing. But when you are crossing a line, you know that you are crossing a line. So one way of answering this question of am I crossing a line is to say, if I'm making a comment about somebody from a particular community, would I like that comment if I was from that community, right? If you're making a comment on backward classes, if you're making a comment on Hindus, Muslims, whoever, just ask yourself, if I was a Muslim, if I was a Hindu, would I have liked this comment on myself? That's the way of answering controversy. All right. Don't make rude comments. Don't make comments which you don't have validity for. We are very quick to judge and say, okay, Hindus are like this, people XYZ communities like this. When you don't know, don't make confident claims. All right. Just make claims which are not offensive to any community. Can you repeat the instructions about the impromptu? There's no impromptu instruction at all. Please don't make up segments. And for tomorrow, what do we have to prepare for better experience? Just read up on the theme. It's great if you want to do something for tomorrow. Read up on the theme. Look at the expected motions that are there in the PDF for day one. Electronic devices are allowed, but if you want to make bullet points, if you want to make bullet points, you can write them on your walls, on the Google Doc that you have, on the paper. The medium is not an issue. The issue is when you're reading things off your electronic device, the paper or the wall. So just keep in mind if you're allowed to take down bullet points but not read stuff. Tomorrow we will get time to make a sample speech. Repeat question. All right. Will the volunteers be randomly chosen for? Yeah, I mean, there's a process. It's a very fair process. I'll tell you about that tomorrow. No, what is diplomatic? No. There won't be negative marking. Please don't be too, like, you guys are becoming too theoretical. Don't worry about negative marking. I've already told you, matter, manner, method. Do well in those three directions. Nobody can take away the qualifier, like, take away the semi-finals or like your victory from you. As per the guidance, there will be 3 rounds where there will be second round topic will be more difficult. No, who gave you this guidance? We've never told you second round topic is going to be tougher or something. So it's going to be fine.
That's fine.
Fine. So it's
Nitisha,
going to be-
Neeti ma'am is asking us how many days prior the schools will get the topics.
right, 3 days.
3 days prior, ma'am. So you can expect these announcements to come on 22nd. I'm hoping all of you are a part of the WhatsApp group because that's the only place where we will do any official announcement. If you're not a part of that, I'm just giving you the email ID to type to. But Nitisha, please carry on. I think there were some questions. Yes, you can introduce your school, Yashika, not a problem, but don't get into too much of introduction because we know exactly who you are, right? Yeah, so over to you, Nitiksha. Paridhi is asking.
I think that repeat question. I am like by and large done. Will we get to
Yeah.
choose the time slots? No, you won't get that liberty of choosing your time slot. If you have a very pressing commitment like an exam or something, only then we're going to change your dates. For that also you'll have to give proof. Like
Yeah,
if I have exams.
correct. We'll be mindful of the Halloween holiday. That's the only request that I've got from students. Otherwise, please drop us a note at hello@ogly.ai. It was a pleasure meeting you all. We would love to see your energies in the debate. So, a very good night to all of you. And Nitiksha, we